Okay, let's talk about something that's, well, pretty stressful. If you're going through a divorce here in Tallahassee, you've probably got a million financial questions swirling around. Today, we're going to tackle one of the big ones and give you a clear, no-nonsense answer. How much does a divorce appraisal actually cost?
So let's just cut right to the chase. You need to get your home appraised. It's a huge piece of the puzzle. You need a number that's not just fair, but one that's going to be solid enough to hold up if things get complicated. So, the bottom line is, what's that going to set you back?
All right, for a typical, standard, single-family home in Tallahassee, here is the number you're looking for. $650. Now, I know that sounds super specific. You're probably wondering, where in the world did that number come from? Well, it's definitely not just pulled out of thin air.
That $650 is actually based on a really reliable source, the VA fee schedule. And I can hear you now, hold on, I don't have a VA loan, so why should I care about that? It's a great question, and the answer is kind of fascinating. This schedule has pretty much become the go-to benchmark for the whole industry.
It's actually a pretty smart system. The Department of Veterans Affairs publishes these official rates for their loans, right? And because those numbers are so transparent and well-researched, appraisers all over Tallahassee use them as a solid starting point for all kinds of appraisals, including divorce cases. It's kind of like the industry's unofficial price guide.
So let's take a closer look at the actual numbers for Leon County. You see it right there. A standard single-family home is $650. And interestingly, a condo costs exactly the same, probably because the work involved is pretty similar. But then you see the price start to tick up for properties that are a little more complex. A manufactured home is a bit more, and then a multi-unit property, like a duplex, is even higher. And notice that standard turn time is about 7 business days. That's a week.
Okay, so we've established the baseline. Now let's look at how the specific type of property you own can change that number. And it makes sense, right? Appraising a big, complex property is just going to take more time and effort than a standard house.
This chart really makes it easy to see. You can see that clear step up in price as the properties get more complex. It's not a huge jump for a manufactured home, but when you get to a multi-unit property, you're definitely looking at a noticeable increase from that $650 baseline.
But it's not just about the type of building. There's another layer to this that is especially important in divorce situations. Certain circumstances can add to the final cost, and it's always good to know what those are ahead of time. No surprises, right?
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to the amount of work the appraiser has to do. If your divorce is contentious, for example, the appraiser might have to prepare for expert witness testimony, and that takes a lot of extra time. Need the report like yesterday? That's going to be a rush fee. And if your property is really unique, or if you need it valued on more than one date, say the date of separation and today, that's double the work, and the price will reflect that.
And check this out. This is a really interesting local detail. Right here in Tallahassee proper, you're looking at that standard fee. But if your property is out in a more rural area, like in nearby Jefferson or Franklin County, the price actually goes up. And look, the turnaround time gets longer too. It just goes to show you that logistics and travel time can really play a part in the final cost.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground here, so let's pull it all together into a really simple, easy-to-use framework. This will help you make sense of any appraisal quote you might get.
Think of it like a simple 3-step mental checklist. First, you start with that $650 benchmark. Then, step 2, ask yourself, is my property more complex than a standard home? If the answer is yes, add a bit more. And finally, step 3, think about any of those special circumstances. Do I need it fast? Is it way out in the country? Is this a complicated legal case? If you walk through these steps, you'll have a really good idea of what your final cost is likely to be.
You know, this quote right here really hits the nail on the head. A divorce appraisal isn't just any old appraisal. It has to be absolutely rock solid, because there's a good chance it's going to be picked apart in court. So what you're really paying for isn't just a number, it's the confidence that comes with a report that is thoroughly researched and completely defensible. So, now you know exactly what goes into the cost of a divorce appraisal in Tallahassee. But at the end of the day, it's not just about the price tag, is it? The real question, the one you should be asking, is this. Is the appraisal you're paying for going to hold up when it really truly matters? That's something to think about.